Hello everybody and welcome back to part 3 of the Beerploma.com and Beer Aficionados of the Greater Midwest fall road trip video. Before we begin the video here today, we're going to be looking at the beer Shipwrecked Cherry Wheat Ale made with Door County cherry wheat and made in Egg Harbor, Wisconsin. So part 3 of the video here is actually all about getting to the Top of the Hops Green Bay Beer Festival. And then afterwards, you'll hear from Isaac and Scott about their thoughts about the whole road trip. So grab a beer, kick back, and enjoy it with us, and enjoy the show. Your first impressions of the Top of the Hops Green Bay Craft Beer Festival?
Looks pretty good. You know, it looks like there's a lot of people here. It's a big space. Actually, I like it. There's room to move around, and you know, I'm enjoying talking to the brewers and to the people pouring, and I'm not quite sure yet. So, updates later.
Gross. So, what are you thinking of the Green Bay Top of the Hops Craft Beer Festival so far?
So good. Can't complain.
What's your favorite beer so far?
I haven't been blown away by anything yet. Still waiting for the one to knock it out.
Hi guys, I'm Tyler Hughes from the Temple Lake Beer.
We kind of put off a little bit of the details of figuring out what we're going to do, and so when I came over that day, right? Yeah.
Well, here we are back at our hotel room after the Top of the Hops Beer Festival. I think the consensus was pretty clear. It was a decent beer festival, however, it wasn't probably the best one we've been to. Scott, thoughts on that? I mean, would you agree with that assessment?
I think so. I think it was a good effort for the first year. You know, they had a good number of breweries. They had a good turnout. It was a nice location, you know, right next to Lambeau Field, so that was pretty cool and scenic. I think they need a little more variety, you know, a little more depth to the selection. But overall, you know, I think, you know, for a first year effort, it was a good job.
Okay. So what was your highlight of the trip? I know we did a lot of things throughout the day.
Highlight, you know, we drove down to Green Bay Friday night, and we stopped at the Northwoods Brew Pub in Eau Claire. Thumbs up to that. Great beer, great food. I think that was a great stop. And then our tour of Titletown Brewery. I can't, you know, talk enough about how great the beer was there. You know, Dave, it was Dave, right?
Yeah.
Dave, the brewer, was, you know, he was really approachable, gave us a lot of good information. And then, wow, you know, good food when we had lunch afterwards. And the beer selection was very good. So, you know,
Well, tell us about some of the beers that you had. I mean, like, what were the ones that come to mind real fast for you?
We had the fresh hopped one that they do as a collaborative effort with the brewers around.
That would be the Botanical.
Botanical, great stuff. I got a growler of that to take home. Yeah, that was good. The Johnny Blood Ale, I had that with lunch. That was very good. You had I think the honey.
The 400 Honey Ale.
400 honey. That was great. Everything. The thing I noticed about their beer was that everything had a very. It was not like everything had the same sort of base and taste. You know, everything was pretty distinct and had a good flavor and a pronounced kind of difference between the different types of beers. There wasn't something where you felt like you had one beer and you knew the profile of the whole brewery. So it was a great experience.
So, what was one thing that you wish you could have done on this trip that we didn't get around to?
I would have liked to gone to the other brewery in town, the number 2 or the bigger player,
Hinterland.
So we talked. We had that presentation with that brewer who did a joint presentation with Dave, the guy from Titletown. But I mean, they had some good beers which I sampled at the fest. Would have liked to tour them, and you know, I think, you know, don't have any regrets. I think, you know, a road trip to Green Bay would be a great thing. I mean, you have a couple great options on the way up here, and you have a couple great brew pubs and breweries to, at the very least, you know, at least 2, if not more, that we have to sample to visit on the way.
I know we had a lot of great food on this trip. If you had to just pick one thing to bring back to Minnesota with you, what would you pick out of all the stuff you've tasted this week?
Like food-wise?
Yeah, food-wise.
Well, I think the burger that I had, a jalapeno burger at Northwoods, which is very good. But then again, I had a pretty good shrimp, Cajun shrimp po' boy at Titletown too. So I had several good meals. So it's kind of hard to pick, actually.
Well, good. Well, thanks for coming on the trip with us. I mean, it was a pleasure to have you with, and thanks for you actually did a lot of the filming for during the interview. So thanks for a lot for taking care of a lot of that. So, yeah. Well, I'm gonna turn off the camera here and let you get back to what you were doing.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. How are you doing today?
Good.
So, tell us a little bit about the trip that we took this weekend.
Well, we went on a trip to Green Bay, Wisconsin for Top of the Hops Craft Brewing Festival, and first we stopped in Eau Claire at Northwoods for dinner, and then came all the way out to Green Bay, spent some time hanging out at Lambeau, and then hit the beer festival after that.
Okay. What was your highlight of the trip?
That's a really good question. Probably the highlight was meeting Dave at Titletown Brewery, and just picking his brain about brewing and everything that they do there. He was just such a knowledgeable guy, and just seeing the whole process and everything that goes into making their beers there was really neat. And then being able to drink them and kind of have the whole total experience, that was just a really, really good time.
Okay, what did you think of the beer festival?
I've only been to one other one, and this was a much different. This was a craft brew festival, and I had gone to a different one previously. And I guess there were some nice things there, but overall, it wasn't the highlight of the trip for me.
Okay. Were there any beers there that you actually enjoyed?
There was I can't remember if it was a wheat ale. There's a peach. Was it a white ale or a wheat ale?
No, it was a peach wheat. Yes.
Yeah, the peach wheat ale. I'm sorry, I don't remember where it was from, but
I want to say it was Stony Ridge or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, that one I thought was really good. But other than that, there was a lot of nice beers or anything, but just I don't think anything that really blew me away.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to add? Anything else you want to talk about? Like, what was your favorite food?
My favorite food was the fish at Northwoods. They had an all-you-can-eat fish fry Friday night, and lots of times I get fish that at these fish fries, it's like the fry is really thick. This had the lightest fry on it, and it was really, really tasty. Just big, thick pieces of cod, just a very light fry on them, and oh man, it was good. And to go along with their beers and their amazing pie, that was a really good meal.
Is there any area of the trip where you wish we could have spent more time? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about beer. I mean, it could be about anything.
I think it would have been good if we could have found Green Bay.
Yeah.
That would have been all right.
So I guess you guys are missing the in joke here, but I've been out to the Green Bay 5 times. Isaac, this is what, your second?
Right.
With me, and we have yet to find the Green Bay.
Yeah, one of the tricky things was there's so much construction here this time. It made it sort of difficult getting around, but no, I don't know that there's anything in particular. I think I agree with Scott. It would have been fun to go check out Hinterland and had another experience like that, like what we had at Titletown, because that was definitely the highlight.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you with, and we hope you enjoyed the trip.
Yeah, had a great time. Thanks.
Thanks.
Should have this music for the feed music.
Think so?
Sure. We need kind of a nice driving.
We are at the Masonville Dairy and Retail Store on our way back on day 3 of the Green Bay road trip. So we're on our way home. Hey Isaac, what kind of cheeses did you get?
I just got one. A 1 year cheddar.
1 year cheddar?
Yep.
So here we are back with our shipwrecked cherry wheat ale from Egg Harbor. And as you can see, it's got a nice good golden color to it. A little bit of a haze to it, but not much. And I'm really surprised by how much it's carbonated. Not very characteristic of a wheat ale. It has a good dry mouthfeel to it. More pilsnery than a wheat ale again. But a great cherry flavor to it. Definitely the cherry flavor does come out, but it's not overwhelming. Slight bitterness to it. All in all, decent beer. On my scale of 1 to 3, I'm going to give this 2 stars, which makes it a very good beer. So I hope you enjoyed our trip out to Green Bay, Wisconsin for the Top of the Hops Beer Festival. It was a great time. Overall, my impressions were Northwoods Brew Pub. Definitely a must stop on your way out there, and make sure you enjoy some of their great pies out there as well as their beers. Titletown Brewing, definitely a must stop for all beer lovers going to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And if they do happen to have the Grand Cru on tap, be sure to enjoy that while you can. So, because that was a definite treat that I don't know if we'll ever get to experience again, but it was truly awesome. Top of the Hop Beer Festival, could use a little bit of work. It was a decent beer fest, but all in all, I've been to much better. I felt that this one had a little bit too much focus on national breweries. Like there was like large tables dedicated to breweries from Budweiser and Miller, and not enough local flavor to it. It was good to see Titletown and Hinterland there, which are both the major breweries out of Green Bay, and they did have the local presence. But I just felt that there could have been more of it. But it was a solid, good first beer festival for Green Bay, and I hope they learn and go forward with that for next year. So, well, and that's all I have for the beer festival. And all in all, it was a great and fun trip, and we're still sitting on some of the cheeses that we have from that trip. So, until next time, enjoy. Prost. If you would like to know how to help out the beer aficionados of the Greater Midwest or Beerploma.com, please feel free to write to us at info@beerploma.com or at the email address right here on the bottom of the screen. Or feel free to leave your comments either on Facebook under the Beer Aficionados of the Greater Midwest or right here on YouTube. Thank you very much.